ASol's CGU just got released, and yeah, he certainly is a champion in League of Legends. Regardless, how do we use Bubble against new ASol? First of all, as you can see here, his E and R are very quick to cast, and we cannot use them against him. This leaves his Q and W. However, the caveat to all this is I do not think we can guarantee that we land Bubble against him during either of these. Instead, we only really disrupt what he wants to do, which buys us or our allies time. ASol can cancel his Q and W almost immediately in order to dodge a bubble. However, in that case, he is losing damage and or mobility. So similar to another champion with important channel abilities such as Fiddlesticks, while we cannot guarantee that we will hit ASol with bubble, he loses DPS if we interrupt his Q. His W has a long cooldown and amplifies his Q damage, making him less useful, in addition to ASol also being otherwise immobile. Also, do note that ASol is only targetable on his upper body. His transparent lower body is not targetable and should not be aimed at. His Q roots him in place for several seconds, and there is a brief period after casting before he can move or cancel the Q. This is not enough for us to guarantee bubble will land, but if we throw it at him as soon as we see him cast Q, then he is either forced to cancel it or we hit him. Prompt casting a bubble is important since if ASol gets to focus a target continuously, he will deal increased damage. His W makes him move in a straight line and at a moderately fast pace, and while he is flying, he can use Q, which deals bonus damage, has no cooldown, but decreases his flying speed. You can tell where he is going to dash while he is winding up, because even if he was not moving in that direction initially, he will orient himself during the cast time. One thing I think good ASol players will end up doing is microing the self-slow of Q intentionally to change their flight speed and try avoid bubble. But there's not much I can see us being able to do about this, and we fall back to the position that if he's forced to not cast Q, then it disrupts his DPS. It is for this reason that I think we should only ever try use bubble while he is also using Q. He cannot change direction and more or less moves at his base movement speed. Maybe a little bit faster, but this is always going to be less than 400 units per second. Since bubble has a radius of 400, this means that an ASol using Q will never avoid a bubble that targets just in front of him during his flight path, so bubble will force him to either stop using Q to speed up, or just cancel his W. The exact sweet spot will probably be somewhere with the side of the bubble closest to him slightly ahead in his path so that it lands if he cancels his Q and tries to speed out of the AoE. But do keep in mind I'm making this the week of ASol's rework. I'm doing so because I've played a few games against him where he's been an absolute monster, and I want to figure out some of what can be done, and in the future if this doesn't age well then I'll just revisit. In the meantime, I hope this proves useful. Enjoy the 13.3 tank spot meta, because Nami's only going to get even weaker in 13.4 with Spell Thief's nerfs.